Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the host for today's ceremony, Lieutenant General Todd T. Semonite, the 54th Chief of Engineers, welcome and thank you for attending today's change of command. This morning, we bid farewell to Major General Jeffrey L. Milhorn, the commander of the North Atlantic Division, and welcome the incoming commander, Brigadier General Thomas J. Tickner. We would like to thank all our distinguished guests, friends, and family that are attending today's ceremony, both in person and virtually. This includes Lieutenant General Todd Semonite, Chief of Engineers, Mr. Stephen Castleton, civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army. Thank you all for your attendance. From time immemorial, armies throughout the world have conducted ceremonies to commemorate victory over an enemy, to honor their heroes, to celebrate special occasions, or to pay homage to their fallen comrades. These ceremonies add color and pageantry to military life. In the United States, the foundation of our present ceremonies was laid by the Continental Army. Today's ceremony is a reflection of the procedures practiced since the dawn of our nation. It is derived from our Army's first manual of ceremonies, the Blue Book, written by General von Steuben. The ceremony that you're about to see includes the arrival of the official party, presentation of the colors, honors to the nation, and the change of command. This ceremony has been modified to include social distancing protocols. We hope that you enjoy this historic event. The reviewing officer for today's ceremony is Lieutenant General Todd T. Semonite. On behalf of the soldiers, civilians, and families of the North Atlantic Division, Major General Jeff Milhorn is presenting a bouquet of flowers to his wife, Debbie Milhorn. He will also be presenting 3 single roses to his daughter, Kaylee Milhorn, for her and on behalf of her 2 siblings. This is in a tradition symbolizing the appreciation of the support and contributions made by our loved ones. To welcome the Tickner family to the North Atlantic Division, Mr. George Williams, Brigadier General Tickner's father-in-law, is now presenting yellow roses to Claire Williams, Brigadier General Tickner's mother-in-law, on behalf of General Tickner. This is representing General Tickner's wife and children who are currently attending the ceremony virtually in Hawaii. At this time, please rise for the arrival of the official party, the playing of honors, our national anthem, and the invocation given by Chaplain Major Bruce Duty, the Fort Hamilton Garrison Chaplain. For this ceremony, Lieutenant General Semonite has deferred honors to Major General Milhorn in recognition of his outstanding command tour. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The change of command is a simple, traditional event that is rich with symbolism and heritage. Key to the ceremony is the passing of the unit's colors. These colors represent not only the lineage and honors of the unit, but also the loyalty and unity of its soldiers and civilians. The colors are the commander's symbol of authority, representing his responsibilities to the organization. Wherever the commander is, the colors are also there. Throughout history, commanders ensured their unit flags were carried by one of their most trusted officers. This practice was used in the United States Army until 1813, when the regulations were changed and the flag was entrusted to sergeants or sergeants major. In USACE, division commanders select one of their most trusted civilian advisors to perform the honors. Today, Ms. Karen Baker, the North Atlantic Division's Programs Director and Senior Civilian, will have this honored role. The passing of the unit colors symbolizes the transfer of authority from the outgoing commander to the incoming commander. Because of the reverence the commander feels towards the colors, it is kept over their left breast during the transfer. The passing of the colors demonstrates to the soldiers and the civilians of the organization that the old commander has passed the mantle of leadership to the new commander. With this, also passes the loyalty of the workforce to the new commander. At this time, Lieutenant General Semonite will pass the colors to the incoming commander, Brigadier General Tickner, signifying his trust and confidence in his leadership abilities. By the authority of Army Regulations 600-20, paragraph 2-5, the undersigned assumes command of the North Atlantic Division, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, effective 15 July 2020. Signed, Thomas J. Tickner, Brigadier General, commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Todd T. Semonite, the 54th Chief of Engineers.
Thanks, John. I think with everything going on in America today, and especially with COVID and this great ceremony, I'd like to ask the chaplain to stand up and just give us a very, very short blessing before I make my formal remarks. Chaplain, and if you don't mind, can you just stand up, please?
I invite you to pray along with me. Lord God, thank you for moments like these, moments that make us proud and grateful for our profession. Lord, serving our nation with humility and honor has brought about the best in Major General Milhorn, whose leadership to the North Atlantic Division of the Army Corps of Engineers has been beyond phenomenal. Lord, bless him and Deb on their journey forward. God bless their kids who are already engaged, participating on the front lines, in the arena, in their young adult lives. Lord, we ask also that you bless Brigadier General Tickner and his family as he assumes command with both courage and confidence, and as he leads the men and women in this great organization and under his care. Lord, strengthen the United States Army Corps of Engineers, SA-ONS, for years to come. And as always, God, thank you for the privilege of serving in this, the best Army, and in this, the greatest nation in all the world. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Please be seated. So I'm really excited to be here today. It's kind of a bittersweet day. You know, Jeff, we're going to say goodbye to you and Deb, and we're going to say hello to the Tickners. But I want to start out by saying I almost have to apologize that we have to do it in this manner. For those that are watching on TV, and I know there's a big crowd out there watching us, you can't see the audience, but everybody's spread 6 feet apart. We're going to be COVID compliant today, even when we do the flags. Normally we would hold that flag and we would transfer it together. But this is a tough time for America, and it's important that we in the military continue to set the example to take care of our people without a doubt and to be able to help step it up. What I would ask, though, in most of these events, what's really, really nice is a reception afterward. And Jeff, you're going to be with Deb, and everybody's going to come. We would have come through. A couple hundred people would have been here. You got the CASA here. You got, people from New York State. Pat Murphy's here. You got all the great Fort Hamilton people. And it would have been hundreds of people here. And it would have come through, and it would have been a half an hour receiving line. We're going to miss that today. Tom, same thing. A lot of people would have come through and welcomed you. And so while we're going to be COVID compliant, what we're going to not get today is your interaction of watching this TV. So I would even ask you to either go in and add a comment right now or drop a little note or an email, because these two families, they cherish these relationships out there. And if you can let them know that you were online and you watched it, it's a big deal. But if you don't, then they're never going to know you're out there. I also want to thank the NAD crowd. I always loved Fort Hamilton. For those that don't know, I was here from 2006 to 2009. Jeff, this is the 5th NAD change of command I've either been in or I've hosted in the last 14 years. And I love this club and I love this community. I would tell you that there's probably not many other communities that are as supportive of the United States military as New York City and as of Fort Hamilton. So to CASA, to all of the great people that helped this installation out, we in the Army need our installations in our communities, and it's important both from recruiting and everything else, but the fact that a lot of hard work. John, the team to put on this kind of event is different than a regular one. I know that your guys, both the ushers, all the reception people, all the other kind of things, a lot of hard work. So let's give a big round of applause. Everybody had something to do with this. Today in the Corps of Engineers, we're building $68 billion worth of stuff. I don't tell you that to impress you. I tell you that to say there's an awful lot of work. And every single day I wake up and say, boy, we got a lot of concrete and steel to put in the ground. We owe it to our stakeholders. People watching today, we've got private companies that work for us. The people that are small jobs, small businesses, big companies that are doing a phenomenal job. It's our job to continue to be partners with you. We've got many, many stakeholders. Jeff's a member of 3 different commissions. I'm going to read those off. But we've got all kind of waterway groups. We've got all kind of, state and federal and national, different organizations that we work with. I think lately what I've been saying, while we got to deliver an awful lot in concrete and steel, the most important thing, Chaplain, we got to build every single day is relationships and partnerships. And so that's what today is a little bit about. If for those that are here and that know the Millhorns, say goodbye to them. They're going to continue to do great things for our Army. But it's a great opportunity to meet the Tickners and a great, phenomenal family that's there. So it's kind of interesting. Talk a little bit about Jeff's family. He's got a phenomenal family. I'm going to talk about Deb last, but first of all, they've got a captain that's in the Army, actually just graduated from Fort Leonard Wood. My son-in-law, I think, was in the same course, the captain's career course. And he's off to Hawaii to be able to help a different mission, to be able to find POWs, MIAs, the accountability mission. And then he'll come back in and probably be a company commander back in Hawaii. But the fact that your son has decided to follow you is a great attribute, and so therefore obviously he looks up to you, but kind of knowing that the Millhorn legacy will continue to go on for some period of time is a great deal. Lindsay's 25, another superstar, 4th-year medical student, Rocky Mountain Vista in Colorado. She's going to graduate next May, and then she's going to get married a week later, to a doctor. So, I mean, that's good. You got a lot of great support in the family if you need additional medical care. That's good. Kaylee's here. What a phenomenal young lady. I met her last night. She just, we just did a little one-on-one with the family in the back room. I always do that right before an event. And I said to Kaylee, I said, anything you want to say about your dad? And I'm not going to repeat what she said, but exceptionally impressive young lady. And your comments were actually made your mom cry in the other room with what you said. So that's the kind of kids the Millhorn kids are. And one of the things I'll tell you is that we don't bring you guys up and give you awards. We did actually give your mom an award. I'll talk about that. But we move you all over the place. And that means a lot of times Dad's not there. He's not there for the soccer games. He's not there for the Boy Scout, the Girl Scout stuff. And we don't ever actually thank you. And so while you got, roses that your dad gave you, being a military child is hard, okay? I think I've got 4 kids. I think 3 of them had to have 3 different high schools, okay? And that's hard to do. You get to be a great sophomore on the football team, then all of a sudden they move you next year and you got to go prove yourself again to the next coach, and it's all hard to do. But what the 3 of you guys have done, if there's ever a day you would have walked in and said, Dad, it's not worth it. I can't handle this anymore. He would have got out. He would have got out as a lieutenant colonel or a colonel. Same thing with if, your mom had said to him. And the fact that he is here today as a 2-star general officer is because you and your brother and your sister have said, hey, Dad, we're going to be by your side. And it's going to be hard, but the bottom line is, you're serving this country. It's a big, big deal. Let's give these 3 kids a big round of applause, okay? Deb Milhorton's a superstar. There was a couple of people in the room that were here at 9:30. We gave her an award. It was not just for her service and what she did at Fort Hamilton, but it was for all of the last 28 years where she supported the regiment. It's called the Essayons Award, and Deb Milhorn has stepped up where we don't necessarily write a job description for a military spouse. They say when you join the Army, you get a gun, you get boots, you get a bunch of other stuff. We don't issue you a spouse, okay? But our spouses, our military spouses are phenomenal, and they find where they can be value added. Deb has been instrumental in military units of helping to be able to make families more resilient. When all these deployments, Jeff's deployed 4 different times. She's been out there to be able to take care of the company or the battalion or the brigade, or when in the last couple of jobs in USACE, which is predominantly a civilian environment. And Deb, not only did you continue that service here in New York City, but you were instrumental right here on this installation. I know that you spent like about 150 hours with the Wellness Center, taking care of soldiers. Even, I think Linda's here is from the fire department, the chief's here from the department, helping in some of the firefighters, the New York Police Department, other DA civilians. Deb's a big runner. Jeff is a surfer, apparently. He goes surfing. He says, I'll be back in a couple hours. Deb goes for a couple-hour run. She probably can run you into the ground, I would think then, huh? But very, very active. And the thing that just continues to resonate about Deb is, I think, a very, very caring attitude. Even last night, we were over at John's house. We had a little social over there, and all of the district commanders are here. The DPMs are here, the leadership from the division. But you could just kind of tell. It's kind of an aura of a family. And that's the whole thing we're trying to continue to perpetuate, not only just in the Army, but in the Corps of Engineers, Chaplain. This idea that we want to have a command climate where everybody's treated with dignity and respect. Everybody is based on values and doing the right thing. But we want people excited to come to work. I drive to work fast in the morning. I shouldn't be. I should watch the speed limit. But I'm excited to go to work because I got so many things I got to do. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And Deb, your ability to continue to support the senior leadership in the division of building this great command climate is off the charts. Let's give Deb a big round of applause, okay? So we're military guys, and we do a lot of traditions. 245 years we've been doing this in the Army. We've been taking care of this country out here, and we continue to try to keep these traditions alive. So what you've just seen is a very, very traditional ceremony. You're going to see some other things. But when John walked through some of that narration, and when you saw Karen, 2 or 3 things that we want to be able to make sure you recognize. The formal transfer of the authority. There's an order, okay? Tom Tickner signed the order. I am now in command. Everybody knows. It's documented. All of the leadership understands that. And then the passing of the colors. While we had to modify it today to be COVID compliant with the 4 different stands, it actually shows that that flag, Jeff, you gave up command to me, and then I held the command. And one of the things that we teach our youngest officers is that the commander is responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen. It is your responsibility, Tom. And I know you and I love you, but the bottom line is when you grabbed that flag today, it wasn't just about getting projects done. It was with that is caring for all the civilians in NAD, all the officers, all the families, but even more so, to set a command climate where everybody can see their future. They can meet their destiny. You're taking care of these families and these people to continue to perpetuate the traditions we built in the Corps of Engineers. It's a big, big responsibility. You just came out of another division, but you've got a couple of years here to continue to make a very, very super division even better off. And with that responsibility, we're all here to help you, but it goes back to this formal accountability. And then a couple other things. It just goes back also to continuity of mission. As much as Jeff has been an outstanding commander, we rotate our commanders every couple of years because we want people to come in that are going to have maybe innovation, different way of doing things. Tom's got different experiences. He's got new perspectives out there and maybe a renewed zeal. So as much as we love what Jeff did, he's going to go on and do other great things. And now Tom Tickner and the leadership, when it transferred the authority, it also transferred the loyalty. The NAD team, the colonels that are sitting here, your loyalty last night was to General Milhorn. Today it's to General Tickner, and you've got to continue to be able to help bring him on and make him a great person. Jeff Milhorn, Tom Tickner are absolutely proven guardians of the Corps of Engineers. They know what they're doing. They're experts in their craft. But at the end of the day, they're the kind of people that are going to continue to take care of our organization and by default, take care of America. So let me talk just a couple of Jeff's accomplishments real quick here. And the North Atlantic Division is one of 9 divisions. I would say that it's probably got one of the most complicated missions. We have 4 gigantic portfolios. I'm going to talk about Jeff's accomplishments through the lens of those portfolios. But the bottom line is a lot of people in this area, and you've got about 25% of Congress that is represented inside this division. 3,500 military, civilian, and local national team members, about a $10 billion program throughout not only the North Atlantic states, but I'll tell you about the overseas mission as well. Very complicated division, Jeff, and you've done a phenomenal job commanding it. On the military side, about $5 billion in what's called military construction. These are things that like a barracks at Fort Drum or helping out build a new place to train cadets at West Point. We've got a very complicated building we're doing right now to be able to do things like COVID-type testing stuff at some of the biggest R&D communities we have down in the central region, and then a lot of different things throughout all the different installations that Jeff is in charge of. He also is in charge of supporting the European Command, 4-star commander that's in there in charge of Europe, and there's a Army component who's a 3-star commander, USERER. So this is where the commander in New York, we've got a district in Europe, but he is also in charge, and Jeff has done a great job of walking into U.S. embassies, talking to ambassadors, talking to 3- and 4-star generals on what does the Corps do and how can we in the Corps of Engineers help you to be able to do your job by figuring out what are your missions and how can we step up to them. Same thing with Africa, 4-star in Africa and also an Army 3-star in Africa. And your relationship building in those countries has been phenomenal. I hate to say it, but we all are always worried about a peer threat. We're worried about China. We're worried about Russia. There are things that Jeff has done, and I'm not going to go into details here, but if we were ever to be able to be head-on-head with a big fight with Russia, what are the kind of things we need to be thinking through right now? What types of construction do we need to think about? What are we going to do with war fighting? And Jeff has been instrumental with our European team on continue to think through the war plans and be able to get ahead of anything activities. And there could be a day, if we ever are called to do things, there could be a day where what you have done today will serve us great dividends in the future. Missile sites in Poland, Romania, just a phenomenal job. I was in Israel about 6 months ago. Jeff has done a great job of taking care of some of our U.S. airplanes that we sold to Israel. I won't go into the details there, but just a capability to make these other countries much more, I think, resilient and to be able to defend themselves. Another big portfolio in the Corps of Engineers is what's called Civil Works, all of our waterways. You look right out here at the harbor. Several years ago, we did about a $2 billion program to make the entire New York harbor 5 feet deeper. Panama Canal is now wider. There are bigger ships coming in and out. So all up and down through Jeff's region, all the way from the Norfolk district, all the way up to the New England district, we continue to take care of these harbors. I think you've got right now about 5 big harbor deepening projects going on. He's got 8 gigantic big bridges he takes care of, 16,000 miles of shoreline. We were just talking to the CASA, and he was talking about, out on, Long Island, some of the big improvements we've made out there. 2,600 miles of navigation channels, 650 miles of levees, an awful lot of capability. And not only do we need to keep that maintained with sometimes a challenged budget out of Congress, but at the same time, Jeff has gone with his team and developed about 10 brand new projects. He's studied them. He's brought me a proposal. I have signed off on them. Normally a division might get 1 or 2 new projects done a year. Just under his leadership in 2 years, he's done 10. So a phenomenal job. He's also a member of a couple of different commissions. He worries about the Delaware River, the Susquehanna River, the Potomac River Basin, and just a phenomenal job. So Jeff really stepped up. And the leadership that you exhibited here has helped the credibility of the Civil Works program. There was a couple of years ago we had some aspects of the federal government that thought we ought to move the Corps of Engineers under DOT and DOI. Right now, what we're seeing in the last 2 years is a unbelievably renewed appreciation for what the Corps brings to the fight. That issue is dead in the water, and we're just seeing, even in our budget increases in the last couple of years, the fact that if you want to invest in America's infrastructure, give some more money to the Corps of Engineers, and we will put it in the ground and to be able to take care of not only our economy, but at the same time, be able to take care of the environment. Another big, gigantic job we have is disaster response. A lot of you in New York remember Sandy that came through. Fortunately for Jeff, we didn't have a gigantic storm on his watch. But what I want to be able to make sure you know that we in this area, we are FEMA's engineer. We work for the FEMA as all they do for engineering services, and it is our job to be able to help take care of states and local mayors if, in fact, a storm or disaster comes through. Pat's sitting in the room here. I worked with Pat Murphy several times back in Sandy. He's a great leader. There was a time when Governor Cuomo, it was about the 13th or 14th of March, where he came on national TV and asked President Trump to send the Army Corps of Engineers to come in to be able to help COVID. COVID, we were worried about three things. I call them the three S's. We were worried about a lack of sites, i.e. a lack of hospitals. We were worried about a lack of staff, and we were worried about a lack of supplies. And Governor Cuomo, we said we'll fly up in an afternoon. We went and talked to Pat before we went up there, and we walked to Governor Cuomo and said, what can we do to help? He goes, I'm short hospital beds. I need you guys to figure this out. I want you to build us brand new hospitals. We knew we couldn't build hospitals in a couple of weeks. But what we did do is said, let's take an existing facility and figure out how to modify it. So if we are overwhelmed by hospitals, we can put people in those facilities we built. Jeff did a great job. His team, they're sitting over here, all these colonels and their DPMs, 254 different assessments that Jeff's guys did. 11 of them we built out. That's about 5,000 beds we built in this particular region that are there right now. And some of these states are determining when do we put our patients and take them out of the hospital and put them back into the place we built. We also then gave to the states some of those assessments. The states built 14 more of these out for about another 5,000 beds. So somewhere around 10,000 beds, this division under your leadership. And it wasn't just you building in NAD. You were spearheading, putting our concept on the ground, continued to refine it, to shape it. And then that went, I hate to say it, went viral across the United States, where we said we can help 50 states. Tom did it in Pacific Ocean Division. And every single night, Jeff's guys would call into our central database. We'd figure out how can we do this better. So what we did to step up, even without necessarily a national requirement, was indicative of what we can do to try to think through where there's going to be a problem and how do you get ahead of it. The other thing I want to touch quickly is the senior officer at an installation. A lot of times we want to unburden him so they can go do their mission. And the garrison commander and his staff is sitting here today. And a lot of times the garrison commander doesn't have all the resources he needs to, but he's got a 2-star general neighbor who, is out doing other things. Jeff came in and on his own volition took on a lot more responsibility of telling the colonel, what can I do? What can I do to help out Fort Hamilton? And it's something that is not necessarily in his job description. I never called you and told you to do this, but you felt this something where you could be value added. But Jeff came in, he did a lot of work with improving the security systems, the handheld scanners when you come through the gates, got about $20 million extra for housing, AFES, DECA, a lot of the other services, the club, a lot of other things. Deb was right side by side with him. But Fort Hamilton's a better place today because the Milhorns lived here. And this is where I was talking to the garrison commander last night and the sergeant major. And I said, hey, if we can continue to be offering services, we can. You're in charge. You're the garrison commander. But if I've got a 2-star general, by the way now, Craig, this guy is going to Washington, D.C. He's going to help influence the MILCON budget. He's going to influence how much money Fort Hamilton gets. And if you got to make sure you're keeping him on your Christmas card list, okay? Because he can probably help you out there. So just a great job, Jeff, and thanks for doing that. And I think at the end of the day, to the NAD team, it's all about, I need commanders who are aggressive, who are willing to step out and make things happen, who, when they see something going south, as much as the districts are great out there, where a general needs to fly in or takes an SES in and say, we're going to figure out how to go see the governor. We're going to figure out how to do this. Jeff is very, very aggressive. He went to the sound of the guns, just like how this installation used to have the guns to protect America. Jeff would go in to be able to get the mission accomplished. But he did it in a way that built a command climate, which I think was very reassuring. Again, a place where people want to go to work and people want to continue to stay. I was talking to some of the leaders that I knew, 14 years ago when I was here, and they continue to say great things. We have a little system in the Corps of Engineers chaplain. We say best places to work. I got about 80 different places. They're not all best places, okay? There's like 60 that are the best places to work. We had a special award we give them, and North Atlantic Division continues to raise the bar every single day. A lot of back to basics approaches. How do we make sure our people have credentials? How do we have priorities that are focused on personnel, programs, partnerships, and all the rest? So Jeff, very compassionate, very focus driven. I think when it goes back through it, it's exactly what we asked for in our military leaders. Somebody who's very, very humble, somebody who's very compassionate, a natural leader, but also somebody who can make sure that we're delivering for this nation what we need to do when it comes to building quality projects at or ahead of schedule and at or below budget. Exactly the kind of things we expect in Jeff Milhorn. So because you did such a great job, I'm going to move you to a harder job, okay? We're bringing Jeff and Deb down to Washington, D.C. They now are going to go from 13 states to 50 states and 4 territories, and actually, I think 110 different countries is where the Corps is at right now. Jeff is going to be in charge of what we call our military program, mainly the DoD money. But when it comes to warfighting responsibilities, it'll be his job to make sure that if we ever are called upon to go to another nation, to another foreign country, to either defend America or to be able to protect our interests, Jeff is going to be the lead guy on helping all that out. So I think that you guys, you're going out here with nothing left on the table. You went all in. You did a phenomenal job, and I'm excited to get you down there. Well, maybe we can speed up your time. I'm flying out this hour. I'm driving down today. I've got an extra seat in my van. I can take it down if you want. Hey, let's get the Milhorns. Big round of applause, okay? So as much as I love Milhorns, we're bringing another superstar team right in belong. And the depth of what we have in our senior leaders in the Corps, we got 46 SCSs. They're all top-notch, great general officers. We're bringing Tom and Sherry Tickner in. Now, I've known Tom for a long time. Some of the NAD crowd that's been here a while. Tom was a district commander for us in Philadelphia. We took a district that at the time was mainly only civil works. We had $1 billion program to build a big C4 ISR building down in Aberdeen. And we asked Tom's district to step up. They knocked it out of the park. They did a phenomenal job. And I think now Philadelphia, we really consider as a full service district, as do all 6 of the districts here in the North Atlantic Division. But great job. We then moved them into Savannah, did a great job down in Savannah. I pulled them out of Savannah a year early. I was in Afghanistan, building the Afghan Army and the Afghan Police Force. Tom came in as my engineer, did a lot of hard, dangerous work every day in outside the wire, building facilities for Afghan soldiers, and did a great job. We moved him into a place called Staff and Bull. It's the staff organization that helps budget liaison. Very, very critical job, one of the most important colonel jobs in the Pentagon. And Tom continued to broaden and learn. And because of that, we made him a general officer. We sent him to the Pacific Ocean Division. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. With Tom comes an absolutely superstar wife. Sherry's a full-time employee in a Fortune 500 company. She's got a great job, but just like Deb, she always finds time to be able to nurture the command and be able to support that, help out wherever possible. Did a great job in the Pacific Ocean Division. And then 4 great kids. Austin's 17, upcoming senior in high school, plays lacrosse, fishing, and diving, and he wants to go to Penn State or West Point. Tom was up at West Point, was it 2 days ago? I think he's trying to cut a deal with the superintendent up there. Hey, I'll get this new building done, but no, I'm just making that up. Mason's 13 years old, plays soccer, volleyball, basketball. Brooklyn's 10 years old, swimming, playing ukulele. And then Audrey's also 10. She enjoys lacrosse, swimming, and wants to be an astronaut where he grows. So some pretty lofty goals out there. So we just did another session in the back room where I was able to talk to Sherry's parents, George and Claire. Raise your hand, both of you, George and Claire, right here. I've been with these two for like 14 years now. I saw them when we were in Philadelphia a long time ago. And then Tom's mom, Helen, was on the Facebook back in the back room. And what a superstar lady. She's staying at home in Pennsylvania. She's on the camera right now. Helen, good to see you. And can't thank you enough for giving your son and Sherry to serve our country, and all 4 of your grandchildren that you don't see as much as if they were not in the Army. And that's unfortunate. But because of that, we're a better Corps of Engineers and a better place. So when Tom is at POD, just a couple of the accomplishments. Unbelievable support up there to the warfighters. The U.S. Army component called USAPAC, and then the joint component called Indo-PACOM. Tom had about 1,600 military and civilian, about $11 billion program. He had 4 districts, but they're all in different places: Alaska, the Far East, and Korea, Honolulu, and in Japan. Did about a $15 billion program, a long-term program with the Japan Defense Review. A lot of work on removing. We had installations very close to the North Korean and South Korean border, about a $10 billion job to move that entire installation south into a much safer place called Camp Humphreys. 42 different humanitarian assistance projects, a couple of big Chiefs reports, just like how Jeff did. A couple of them in Alaska, where we're now going to be able to help the economy in Alaska by getting some more ships in there that are deeper draft ships. A lot of work with one of the storms that came in. It was a typhoon called U2. Tom rallied the POD team to really step up and to supply a lot of support there. And then Tom also was very instrumental in COVID to try to figure out what can we do in both Alaska and in Honolulu to be able to set the conditions. You and Sherry have done a great job. I've known you guys for a long time. You have all the skill sets that we need of our general officers to come in here. Sherry is going to be a great value added to the team. And as much as you got a lot on your plate, I know that your leadership, Tom, will continue to find more opportunities for NAD while at the same time delivering quality projects on time. So great job. Let's give the Tickners a big round of applause, okay? So to the North Atlantic team, you're phenomenal. The culture in this division is great. There's a lot of people that are obviously watching back at the headquarters in Hamilton. I can't thank you enough for your service. I remember the times that Connie and I had a lot of you over to the house. I remember your dedication, your professionalism, and you always took on the hard jobs. And to the 6 districts that are here, I'm assuming Europe's watching. It's a little bit later over there. But phenomenal districts. I love every one of you. You guys are all taking on hard jobs. You got a lot on your plate. But you have the ability to have the leaders in place to be able to anticipate what's coming down the road and to get ahead of it. So I appreciate it all the time to all of those other stakeholders. I talked about the fire department. I talked about the Hamilton team. It is a great community, and we're really glad that you're all here to be able to help share this with us. I would just end by telling everybody in the Corps of Engineers, when I came in about 42 months ago, no, I guess 50 months ago, over 4 years ago, I said, well, I want you to do 3 things every day when you come to work. And my challenge is the same to you. I want you to, first of all, strengthen our foundation. Chaplain, I'd say nobody can do anything unless you're built on a very, very solid foundation. This is an engineer term. If you're going to build a very, very strong building like a castle, like this building right here, you got to make sure there's never a crack in the foundation, because if there is, there's going to be a crack in the building sometime. And that foundation means taking care of people with dignity and respect, doing all the right things, being based on values, having very, very strong partnerships, having systems and processes which are not bureaucratic. How do you power down? How do you continue to be able to challenge everybody? And this division has done a great job, Jeff, of strengthening the foundation. Second big thing is you got to deliver. You got to come through. And it's great to have a lot of buildings to build, but we got to be on time. We got to be able to be of better value back to the nation. And every single day, what I would challenge all of our civilians mainly to do is, if you see something that looks like we're making it too hard, then help me revolutionize the Corps of Engineers. Help me ask the question, why are we doing it so hard? And sometimes we do. And some of this is things that we have not put on ourselves, but other people have strapped on us, red tape. And I want to be able to shed some of that bureaucracy and to be able to make sure that we're charting the path to be able to deliver even better. And then it goes back to achieve the vision. Every single day, the most important thing the Corps has got to do is to realize our vision, to achieve that vision. And the vision of the Corps of Engineers is to engineer solutions for the nation's toughest challenges. Sir, Mr. Casa, I don't want us to do whatever's easy, okay? If it's really easy, I know a bunch of guys that fly airplanes. They can do that, okay? If it's moderately hard, give it to the Navy. But if it's a really, really hard job, and you got to be able to help put 66,000 power poles in Puerto Rico, or you got to build COVID facilities, then you call the Corps of Engineers, because the nation needs a professional engineer corps. We are the largest in the world, but on the other hand, I want us to be the best. And with leaders like these two right here and their spouses and their kids standing by their side, I'm convinced that the Corps is going to continue to build our reputation, be able to continue to be building strong, and continue to be Army strong. Thanks for being here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the outgoing commander, Major General Jeffrey L. Milhorn.
Hey, sir, thanks again for coming up from Washington, D.C. to spend the day with Tom and I on this very special occasion. And to all of our distinguished guests that are present in the room, given the current conditions, absolutely in accordance with CDC compliance and guidance. To all of the seniors, our flag officers, our SESs that may be watching today from afar, commanders, command sergeant majors, Department of Defense civilians, our Gold Star families. Emily, it's great to have you here today. Friends of the North Atlantic Division team, of whom I've come to know and just enjoy our time together. To my family, I'll begin with one who is not present here, Lieutenant Colonel retired Charles Larry Milhorn, the first one in the line of service with 22 years as initially as a field artilleryman, serving as an infantry advisor in Vietnam as well. To my sister Terry, I believe my brother-in-law Russ may have time to watch this today since he's in retirement. Certainly, as you mentioned, to our son, Captain Jeffrey Chase Milhorn, who's soon to depart today for Schofield Barracks, or actually for Hawaii, working for the Defense POW MIA Accounting Detachment, and then later command an engineer company, as his father did there at Schofield Barracks. Enjoy your 14-day quarantine, because I know you're going to be locked down there, as Tom escaped that on his way in from Hawaii. To our daughter, Lindsay, who, as you mentioned, is finishing up her 4th year of medical school, and next May will, within 6 days of graduation, get married to our future brother, our current future son-in-law to be, Brian Oliver, and certainly to my soulmate, Deb, and our daughter, Kaylee, who are in the room with us today, who are representing her siblings. I love you both. The chief made this up front. Yeah, he made an announcement up front to recognize all the folks that make this a special occasion. And I would be remiss if I didn't do the same, from the Cannoneers, the Volunteer Corps Artillery Team, to all of the representatives, the support staff in here, not only from our own organization, but also the Garrison Command Team who are joining us here today. One more round of applause for all of them, please. Sir, as I mentioned, I'm grateful for you taking time to come up and spend some quality time with us in person, certainly given the current circumstances, and we thank you for your exceptional service. As you may have heard him say, he's at 4 years plus 2 months, which typically by law, he would terminate at 4 years even, and he continues to serve our nation until confirmation of our next Chief of Engineers. And sir, we are grateful for your leadership. Certainly, our reputation within the Corps has not been stronger, and we attribute that to your significant leader engagements across this great country of ours, across the globe. And we have earned, and I guarantee we will continue to maintain the trust of all of our American citizens. So one more round of applause for the Chief. Whenever I talk in public spaces, whether it's in front of all of you here today, whether it be at invitation of a private, public, nonprofit organization, I always talk about the importance of taking care of people, delivering on our programs, establishing the partnerships that are required to do so because we can't do it alone, and then certainly the importance of our communications. Whether it's passing somebody every day within your office, and it doesn't matter what walk of life they come from, or at the most strategic levels, to ensure that we are communicating concisely, succinctly, and not to misunderstand. And so I'll start first with our people. I had sent a note out to the workforce late last night. Appreciate the comments that are flowing in, and certainly for those of you that may send them today as a result of this ceremony. We are absolutely grateful. Our people are our most precious asset. And it has been my sincere honor to serve with and for all of you, not the other way around. Covering this extraordinary landscape across 12 states, the National Capital Region, 3 combatant commands, if you include NORTHCOM during times of crisis like the one that we are currently maneuvering through and modifying how we behave. NORTHCOM, EUCOM, and AFRICOM. I owe each of you a personal debt of gratitude for all that you do each and every day. And I extend my very best to each and all of you as you continue to raise the bar, improve the proverbial foxhole, and always make it matter for those whom all of you serve with and for. Special recognitions on some of the people that I've had an opportunity to meet and greet and work with over time, and I'll start with Enrique and Colin. Enrique is our janitor who every day comes in, wipes things down, has a smile on his face. He's taking care of all of you, and very few people know his name. Take time to get to know the people that are caring for you every day, whether you know it or not. And to Colin, who delivers our mail without hesitation, even under the current circumstances. John, Shamira, Cheryl, Corey, John, Garrett, Shirley, and Will, my aides, the front office who have managed to keep me on track, right place, right time, right uniform, right airplane, right airport, wherever you had me going. I could not have done it without you, and I'm exceptionally grateful. Karen and Rhino, and to all of those on your teams whom you represent, thank you for all of your efforts in representing the very best of our senior executive services within our organization. To the district leadership, represented by the district commanders are here, sitting here today, and the DPMs who will join us. If they're not in the room, I think some of them are out and will join us here shortly. All that the commanding general, the chief of engineers made mention of in terms of the complexity and the diversity of the missions that we have before us are done by all of you and your teams. It's easy to lead an extraordinary team when we have such great people as you. So thank you. And your folks are spread all over the globe. And they're not just responding to the region that we sit in today, as they respond to other crises across the globe. Colonel Ziesness, who is not here, I don't believe today, I just changed him out yesterday as the garrison commander here at Fort Hamilton. To Colonel Craig Martin, we welcome you aboard. Congratulations for taking the reins. To Command Sergeant Major Hayes, Command Sergeant Major McCabe, who will change responsibility here coming up on the 24th. To Steve Hood, who represents the very best of our Department of the Army civilians at the garrison staff here. Again, thank you all very much for what you do each and every day. And again, it is just our opportunity to come in and find things wrong and make them better than they were before. And we will continue to do so. And whether you put me on your Christmas card list or not, I don't care. I'm still going to fight for that $15 million. So, other folks that have influenced our lives. Miss Linda Thompson, representing the very best, Chief Woods, who's representing the Fire Department of New York. You missed our dog handlers from the New York Police Department that came in earlier, who also represent the very best. To all of you, I thank you for what you've done for me and my family, for what you've done for the organization, introducing us to spaces that we would have never seen without you, and for your friendship and your continued partnership across this region. To Steve Castleton, our civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army. Phenomenal man. He cares more about the veterans and soldiers and their families than I've seen other civilians take part of. Some people, Steve, just want the title. And some have even asked for rewards on the backside without lifting a finger in the process on behalf of all that you have done. So, sir, thank you for leading by your heart, leading the way for others to emulate. And I appreciate and will treasure our friendship. To Lieutenant General Darrell Williams, sir, if you're monitoring from West Point, which I know you're in your third day or maybe just concluding our day, as you bring all the new cadets back to West Point, sir, I've treasured our relationship, not only as you are the regional senior commander, but our opportunity to spend time with one another, whether it was the projects that we have ongoing at West Point or truly sitting behind closed doors, commiserating about some of the things and challenges we have ahead of us, to include some of the issues that we're wrestling with that impact our entire nation. I appreciate your friendship, sir, and we'll treasure that as well. And so many others from all walks of life, to include politically appointed ambassadors. Ambassador Georgette Mosbacher from Warsaw, Poland, who has been an advocate on all of our behalfs to actually enable us to move forward aggressively in support of projects that can somewhat times be complex and challenging. And I'm grateful for that, as I am my relationships and support of the combatant commanders, whether that's General O'Shaughnessy here at NORTHCOM, General Walters at EUCOM, General Townsend in AFRICOM, and all of your components. And a special shout out to Lieutenant General Chris Cavoli, the U.S. Army Europe commander, and all that he has done to enable us to, again, leverage the resources and bring them to bear on behalf of all of the folks forward in Europe. Congressional members and elected officials alike, without whose support none of our efforts would have been possible, and I'm grateful. I'll shift to our program, and I won't go into great details, the Chief did. It is exceptionally complex. We're geographically separated across 3 continents, supporting numerous federal, state, local agencies, international partners across numerous countries, protecting our nation's waterways, assuring resilient communities through flood risk management, coastal storm risk mitigation, supporting all of the services, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and coasties, all components, through our military programs and our international operations, our interagency and our environmental services. And as I mentioned before, responding to numerous disasters locally and overseas as necessary, whether they be hurricanes, wildfires, floods, earthquakes, and now even a global pandemic. You've done it all under the most restrictive conditions sometimes, but you've always excelled, and I could not be more grateful. Our partnerships, you heard the Chief say it, and he says it much more eloquently, and Debbie's the first one to say, you always butcher, any quotes and things like that, and I'll try not to do that. I actually wrote one down because I had to consult her about that today. But sir, you did say, we build a lot of things in concrete and steel, but the most important things we build are relationships. And through our partnerships that we maintain, they've never been stronger under the engaged leadership of the folks that I have before me. Well in advance of impending challenges, so that when the time comes and there's a need, we're already there, and the relationships are there. And many of you have served as integrators for those that are not familiar with this region, bringing them from outside and introducing them to people like Pat Murphy and Deanne Criswell from New York State and New York City, the Commissioner for Homeland Security and Emergency Services, and our Commissioner, I'm not sure if that's what it is, Deanne, for Office of Emergency Management for the city of New York City. During times of crisis like the pandemic, alternate care facilities, and how we came together and brought in joint task forces from outside the area, introducing them to the teams, integrating them into the teams so that we could achieve our common goals and objectives. We could not have done that without all of your efforts prior to. At all echelons, federal, state, and local levels. To my Fort Hamilton Garrison team, again, I'm grateful for all of your efforts to work side by side with you, serving with and for you to bring the necessary resources to a region that had seen neglect and folks that had not been held accountable. And that we went after that and made some significant changes that are still to be made. And I'm confident that even as the command sergeant majors change here on the 24th, and under Colonel Martin's lead, we will achieve those same results. Missile Defense Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Army Futures Command, the Medical Research and Development Center, the Intel community, U.S. embassies and state representatives, other federal, state, local, international partners, again, rallying around common interests, collaborating together, cutting through the bull, speaking about facts, non-emotional arguments, and seeing results by holding all accountable to getting those things done. All things are possible if you do those things, including defeating the COVID-19 virus, which I'm confident we will do as well. I always wrap up with communication, and it intercedes all those other topics, people, programs, and partnerships. Our strategic engagements and our routine battle rhythm of informing the workforce of our progress under the most extreme conditions, such as the ones we face today, they contribute to allaying fears and anxiety and not contributing to further delays in the programs that we have ahead of us and the accomplishments. And you all have done phenomenal under these conditions. We've become more innovative, and we should not change and go back to the way we were doing things if we're seeing more progress today as a result of what you all have experienced and put into practice, while always exploring new technologies and virtual means, up, down, and laterally. Be authentic. I often don't refer to a script, but I was afraid I might stumble and fall and stare at my wife and my daughter today and crumble in front of all of you. So I did actually stay to a script a little bit, but I deviate all the time. I try not to carry it on too long. But if there's a charge to all of you, those whom you serve with and for, be authentic and genuine in your communications. That will establish the trust with all those, again, whom we serve with and for, and that will carry on for a long, long way. And if you don't fill the void due to a lack of communications, someone else or something else will. No comment is not acceptable. Not available for comment is not acceptable. Address the issues. Stay within your lane, but address the issues. And if there is somebody that you can point to that might be better able to address those concerns, especially if they are not yours, then make that known. I will depart for Washington, D.C., sir, and I'm looking forward to serving as the Deputy Commanding General for Military and International Operations. I will continue to serve with and for all of you in that new capacity. Thanks again for your tremendous efforts, your selfless dedication, extreme professionalism, and commitment to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and our nation. My wife, Deb, daughter, Kaylee, representing again Lindsay and Chase, who couldn't be here with us today, will have fond memories of our time here in New York, doing a lot of things that New Yorkers don't traditionally do, like spiral up into the Lady Liberty, make our way out to Times Square on New Year's Eve, not once, but twice, attend the 4th of July extravaganza put on, I think, by Macy's every year. Unfortunately, they weren't doing it to the degree that they have in the past. Surfing along Rockaway Beach routinely. It's my Zen mode, sir. Searching for sea glass on hidden shorelines. It's been a fun 2 years, and we've learned a lot. We didn't think we were big city people. We've embraced it. We've enjoyed it. And again, we wish all the best for you and your families, and know that we're going to be readily available to assist you in any way that we can, wherever we are. To Tom and Sherry and your 4 kids, man, what a great fit. Congratulations, brother. I'm exceptionally proud to have you serve as the next successor based on your experience, which exceeds my own, based on the time that you've served, whether it was in Philadelphia District, Savannah District, and now Pacific Ocean Division for 3 years. You know the strategic aspect, you know our business, the nuts and bolts of it, and your calm demeanor and your command climate will be unparalleled. He will take it to a new level. I'm confident of that, and I am grateful to have you as a teammate. Lastly, I'll turn my attention to the front row. Thank you for your love and support for so many years. And thanks for your selfless efforts in making move number 18 happen over the last 2 days. 2 cars outside this building right now, filled to the cart. We did weigh them. We're ready to do partial ditty. And literally tomorrow, we'll pull away from here, a truck following behind us, sign for quarters Friday morning, deliver the household goods Friday day, be in the office probably Tuesday, sir. Give me Monday. I need an extra day to help because I don't want to carry that burden. But I appreciate all that you, Kaylee, Chase, and Lindsay. I echo our love and support for all that you've endured and sacrificed on my behalf. The chief said it best earlier. And just a couple quotes for everybody before I depart that ring loudly in my ears. Again, compliments of my soulmate. And I did call you on some of these. The changes are within you to make the changes around you. Treat everyone with dignity and respect, no matter what walk of life. The little things matter. Do small things with great love. I think I have to give Maya Angelou credit for this next one, but Debbie and I echo it all the time. People forget what you say and what you do, but they never forget about the way you make them feel. And lastly, most of my employees will get a laugh at this. I charge each of you to go out and buy a plant. Put it in your workplace and take care of it daily. It will be a subtle reminder that the little things matter and no cactuses are allowed. People first, winning matters, Army strong, building strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Thomas J. Tickner, Commander, North Atlantic Division.
General Semonite, Major General Milhorn, commanders, distinguished guests, family and friends of the North Atlantic Division. Good morning. What a great day to be serving our nation and to be doing it right here in New York City. Thank you for the honor of your presence in today's ceremony. I've done my best to keep my remarks short. Last week's, they were pretty long. But please bear with me. There are some important things that I don't want to gloss over. In many ways, this assignment feels like a homecoming. My ties to this area in this nation run deep. I was born and raised in Wayne, Pennsylvania. My mom still lives there, and we have family and friends in the area. My wife grew up right here with her parents, George and Claire Williams, who lived just outside New York City. And I was privileged to command the Philadelphia district from 2008 to 2010, when the Philadelphia Phillies won the World Series, only to lose it the following year to the New York Yankees. My father-in-law never ceases to tell me that I still owe him Philadelphia cheesesteaks for that loss. I owe you. I'm also keenly aware of the unique mission of the division. From the critical work we do with our military and defense agencies here in the US and us also across the Atlantic with AFRICOM and EUCOM, where we build vital defensive infrastructure with our NATO allies or supporting the continents of Europe and Africa through vital projects and engagements, to shoring up the Northeast from storms and supporting our nation with critical projects that spur on our nation's economic engine. But what's more is the heart of the people of the division. When I left the division in 2010, after serving 2 years, I was awestruck by the passion in our workforce. I'm eager to see it and feel that again. In all of this, I consider myself exceptionally blessed to be among each of you today. On behalf of my lovely wife, Sherry, and our 4 wonderful children, I'd like to thank you for extending a warm welcome to us and providing your generous support during the transition. Lieutenant General Semonite, I'm deeply humbled by your words, for the trust and confidence bestowed upon me to lead this stellar organization. It is a responsibility I humbly accept and I'm eagerly anticipating what's next. Thank you for your impactful, influential, and inspirational leadership, which paves the way for the rest of us to follow. As I consider the significance of the change of command, I'm reminded that leadership in this capacity is not a sprint. It is a marathon relay. The most important part is not necessarily running. It is passing the baton. Major General Milhorn, I accept the baton of leadership from you. I acknowledge your outstanding leadership these past 2 years, and I've watched you from afar, that you're fully committed in delivering the program, strengthening the partnerships, and taking care of people. The tremendous amount of respect you've earned along the way is a testament to the success you have achieved in your tenure. As you pass the torch to me with fire blazing, it is my every intention not to let it grow dim or let it fall, but to keep the fire burning bright, carrying on the legacy of success. I wish you and Debbie Safe travels as you head to DC and take on increased mantle of leadership. I look forward to closely working with you in your new assignment at Headquarters USACE. To the civilians and soldiers standing before me and watching online, as we take our first steps together again, know I am wholeheartedly committed to leading this organization with the Army values front and center: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Looking to the horizon, with the nation continuing to respond to this global pandemic, a new normal still taking shape, we know change is upon us. Embarking on the semi-unknown will no doubt test our endurance and willpower, but we will stretch our skills, and in the process, we'll gain new capabilities. Borrowing from the author John Kabat-Zinn, and having just come from Hawaii, I know all too well we can't stop the waves, but we can learn to surf. I'm confident that we'll learn that together and accomplish the challenges yet before us. After all, the North Atlantic Division team is already a proven force as one team in multiple locations. You have successfully navigated numerous challenges by coupling your technical talents and skills with your ability to strengthen relationships across the region with our industry, military, state, and interagency stakeholders. I'm impressed by all that you have achieved. As we take on the monumental task before us, we will do so with a focus on teamwork. In the words of Henry Ford, coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, but working together is success. Our journey together begins now, and I look forward to seeing you, serving you as your commanding general. Essayons, building strong, Army strong.
At this time, the Salute Battery, Veteran Corps Artillery, is presenting a canister fired today to Brigadier General Tickner as a token of congratulations on his new command. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Engineer Song and the Army Song. The words are located on the back of your program.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the sure, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proud we proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. When it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Now the frontier is loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in position until the official party departs. On behalf of the commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we want to thank you for your attendance at today's Change in Command ceremony. Major General Milhorn and his family will receive friends and well-wishers in the front of the room. Brigadier General Tickner will be located downstairs in the pool area directly following the ceremony. Thank you for joining us on this historic occasion. Essians, building strong, Army strong.